I keep finding the same dead girl fiction. This is going to be a little difficult to explain, but I'll try my best. Really, it starts out painstakingly boring. It was just like any other day. I woke up and went through my normal morning routine, got dressed, had breakfast, and brushed my teeth. I was off to work after that. On the drive to work, I couldn't help but notice what looked to be a large black trash bag strewn across the desolate morning road. It was bound to cause an accident, so naturally, I got out of my car to move it. I noticed just how heavy it was. Not only that, but the stench that radiated off the thing was enough to make me gag before I even wrapped my hands around it. I think, subconsciously, I already knew what the bag entailed. I just didn't want to accept it. Not the lumpy bag, not the red liquid that dripped out of it. My object was clear. Move the bag. I guess that fate really does exist. Though, because as I dragged the bag over to the ditch, the black plastic started to stretch and turn white, right at the edge of the road. Mere inches from the ditch, I gave the bag one last forceful tug. And that was all it took. The bag ripped open, and what I saw made my stomach churn as I vomited on the ground. Body parts. Dozens of them. 2 ears, 2 arms, 2 legs, 10 fingers, 10 toes, and 1 single head. It rolled out of the bag. The stump of the neck was gray and dry. Flakes of blood drifted in the wind with each tumble. She had black hair. Each nail was painted black, and slivers of black lipstick still remained on her cold, blue lips. A piercing protruded from her right eyebrow, and her grayish, milk bowl eyes stared up at me, hauntingly. Of course, I called the police. Authorities arrived. I gave my statement. They made their report. And I think we all just tried our best to wipe the incident from our minds. At least, I did. I spent that day pushing thoughts of those gray eyes out of my head, trying to forget about the bloodied severed fingers, the crusty neck stump. I just couldn't do it. It plagued me. I couldn't forget the images for the life of me, and I had to accept that they probably wouldn't leave me for years to come. I tossed and turned in bed that night. Sleep was minimal, and it felt like the morning came within mere moments. When I heard the birds chirping and saw the sun peeking through my blinds, I groaned at the realization that I was going to have to start a new day. I went through my routine, got dressed, ate my breakfast, brushed my teeth, and once again, I was out the door and on my way to work. Same time, same road, same black trash bag. I stopped my vehicle. I stared at the bag, my mind and heart beginning to race. I debated for a while whether to drive around it or to check the bag yet again. I pushed the door open, slowly, and stepped out of my vehicle cautiously. The same smell filled the air. The same lumps pushed against the plastic bag. I took 1 step towards the bag. 2 steps. 3. I didn't attempt to move it this time. I needed to know what was inside. Ripping the bag open, I found exactly what I suspected. Same black lipstick, same eyebrow piercing, same haunting gray eyes. This time, her fingers and toes were connected to her hands and feet. The limbs were not as dismembered as the day before. However, her arms, legs, and head were still severed. My stomach flipped and churned, but I didn't vomit this time. I simply pulled out my phone, dialed 911, and waited for the authorities to arrive. Once they did, they took my statement, took the trash bag, and I think we all tried to forget about what we had seen. At least, I tried. I spent that day trying to push thoughts of those gray eyes out of my head, doing my best to forget about those severed arms and decaying legs. It proved impossible. I was plagued by images of her all day. I tried to go to sleep, but I tossed and turned well into the night. Morning came too quickly. When the birds began to chirp and the sun peeked through my blinds, I was basically dragging myself out of bed to start my routine. I got dressed. I ate breakfast. I brushed my teeth. I was out the door and heading to work. Same road, same time, same black bag. It looked different this time. Less lumpy, more full, if that makes sense. I didn't hesitate. I got out of my car. I rushed towards the bag, ignoring the smell of death, and I tore it open. Same black hair, same eyebrow piercing, same black lipstick. Her legs and arms were still attached this time. She was cut cleanly in half. Her entrails spilled out evenly on each side, and those same gray eyes stared up at me, hauntingly. I called the police. I sat in my car and waited for them to arrive. Once they did, they took my statement, took the body, and I think we all just tried to move on and forget about the incident. At least, I did. I spent that day trying and failing to push the image of those gray eyes out of my mind. Doing my best to forget about her mangled body and exposed entrails. It proved impossible. I was plagued by memories of her all day. I tried to sleep, but I just couldn't stop tossing and turning. The moment I lost consciousness, it was like the sun was already peeking through my blinds. The birds were already chirping. I groaned aloud as I dragged myself out of bed. I got dressed. I ate breakfast. I brushed my teeth, and I was out the door. As I drove, my mind raced. I couldn't stop thinking about her. It was like my mind had been infected. I kept scanning the road, searching for any sign of the bag. Same road, same time, same girl. As my eyes darted around for the bag, she came out of nowhere. It wasn't my fault. She ran out in front of me. Her black hair smashed against my windshield. Her eyebrow piercing got lodged in the glass. Her black lipstick left a wet, black streak as she slid down the hood of my car. I was shocked. But what shocked me more was the man that was chasing her. He had froze, knife still raised above his head. His eyes fell on the girl. They raised up towards me. He slowly backed away before turning and running back into the woods. In a state of shock, I stepped out of my vehicle. I walked slowly to the front of my car. There she was, mangled on the ground, her haunting brown eyes staring up at me. Her neck bone protruded. Her black hair was stained with blood, and glass littered her face and body. The sight of her made my stomach churn. I keeled over and began vomiting on the side of the road, pulling out my phone. I dialed 911 and waited for authorities to arrive. Once they did, they took my statement, put me in handcuffs, and took me to the station. That's where they're holding me now. I wrote this story with pen and paper and asked my lawyer to make sure the world knows what actually happened, for now. Though, I think I'm just gonna try and forget about this incident.